mention the war. I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it all right.
Listen very carefully. I shall say this only once.
Bobo boys, up with the law.
Hello and welcome back to series. I should do a bit more jolly, really, shouldn't I?
Fucking hell.
Hello.
That's loud. You have to look like a fucking puppet. Hello.
Hello and welcome back to series 2 of the Great British Shitcom.
Like you just come in from the shops. Hello.
Oh yeah.
Kids TV presenter.
I should have been practicing this.
I have. That's all I've done for the past 3-4 months.
It's just
We've been
non-stop
off hello.
hello and straight in.
Now do it like you were in the house on your own and you just heard a noise from downstairs.
Hello.
Now do it like you're at work and no ID numbers on your mobile. Go on.
I'm loving this. And no IDs for my mobile.
Yeah.
Hello.
That was a good one.
Thanks.
That'll do. Go on then. Now do it now do it like you're supposed to be a professional host of a fucking podcast.
Like I mean it then. Hello and welcome back to series 2 of the Great British Shitcom, the show in which we watch potentially forgotten sitcom classics and see if they've stood the test of time. As ever, I am Mark and I am joined by Chris Woods.
Hello.
And Chris Jones.
Hello.
I've not really I've prepared this backwards. That's weird. So I've done the preamble after. Oh, that's confusing.
There's always you always have the air of somebody who's got no control over this process.
I'm the only one that does anything for this, and like that's what I'm saying. I've organised this, but I've organised it badly. Give me that much.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. So today we're coming back with some like slightly more well-known sitcoms. I think for this series, that was some of the feedback we had for the last one. In that we don't know what the fuck you're watching. Waiting for God, for example. Need I say anymore? Do you guys remember Waiting for God? Do you want to remember
No, I
Waiting
remember
for
it,
God?
yeah. It is on TV. It's on Gold and stuff.
Oh Christ, didn't know that.
That was the angriest we were at any point, wasn't it? You reckon?
No.
No, I mean, not in your life. Just
Yeah. It's alright. I don't know. I thought
No,
it
it
was
wasn't.
angry at British Empire.
No, I think this is more confused.
Confused, yeah.
You were very angry during Waiting for God. We were all angry.
Was I?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
For
don't
like
know.
underage, you can't even remember.
Those 5 weeks of therapy have really mellowed me out for that.
Sorry, I shouldn't have brought you up.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. I think the British Empire, yeah, that did come mainly through confusion for me. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it? It was
Not particularly. I still would like to go back to a later series, perhaps, but no
You do
time
it your
soon.
own time.
Wood's having none of it. All right, so today we're doing One Foot in the Grave. That stars Victor Meldrew, played by Richard Wilson. He's a retiree who attracts bad luck. I believe this is all from IMDb as usual. I won't do the rating this time. Unless you want me to, I'll go find it if not.
Is it 6.4?
7.5 or
Probably 7 point something. If he's not driving his long-suffering wife Margaret, played by Annette Crosbie, crazy, and he's constant moaning, he's fighting with neighbours. This episode introduced a new couple to the show, one of which is Angus Deaton.
One beats.
Everyone love a bit of Angus Deaton?
yeah, when he's not. Don't know.
You can't hear an eyebrow raise on the podcast.
I was hoping it was going to creak. Yeah, no, it's alright, yeah.
Yeah,
He's good, isn't he?
what does he do now? Like, I know.
He's just disgraced in general, I think, isn't he? He's like disgraced.
Well, he came back. Obviously, he was doing I've Got News for You.
Yeah.
Then he did Would I Lie to You for a while before. Can't think of his name. The Welsh guy from The Trip.
Tom Jones?
Bryden.
Tom Jones. Rob Brydon. Thank you. Tom Jones. Jesus. Yeah. So he, for some reason, then took over. But as for Dietz, I don't really know what he's doing now.
Let me find out. Look on his Wikipedia.
Yeah.
What's Chris looking at? He's playing a game or something? Or
Just texting, can't wait to get out of here. I was just looking at a rating of One Foot in the Grave, 7.9.
Was it 7 points?
7.9 out of 10.
So yeah, I mean that feels okay. I go at least 8 something. I think
Yeah.
that this is one of the best ones we've done yet. Hopefully.
haven't you watched
Well,
it yet?
yeah,
Well, no,
I
like
don't really remember
historically.
much about it. I just remember he just can't ever believe anything. He's got trust issues, doesn't he?
Trust issues.
He's been hurt before with lies.
Yeah, big
No
time.
matter what.
What was I going to say?
Find out what Deaton's doing.
Oh, yeah.
What, right now? Shall I text him?
I can't wait to get out of it, Angus.
So you phone him and I'll speak
They're
to
giving
him.
you a right slagging off here. Wait till I tell you what I mean.
What was I going to say?
He was
Fucking hell.
Oh, that hurts.
62 years
If
old.
there's any
long,
sentence
innit?
you should say as opposed to the host of a podcast is, oh, what was I going to say out loud? Jesus Christ.
I don't know, he's done some radio. Edinburgh Festival 2016.
What's the name of his radio show? Does it say? I imagine he's got a really good name for it.
Oh, we featured in it. Moray Hunter's radio sitcom Alone on BBC 4. Don't know.
Not like else.
Yeah.
That's pissing down, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, he's just, nothing really.
That's a shame for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in some good stuff. I mean, he's been in Mr. Bean.
It was a Mr. Bean.
Mate.
He was the guy who was, do you remember the episode when Mr. Bean was eating his lunch?
No. That's so specific.
No, but it was one where like the guy was just getting like a sandwich and Mr. Bean was like getting like it was a palaver, as you can imagine. And he was the guy sitting next to him. He was also a swimming pool lifeguard. Mr. Bean.
Was he in Spice World?
Huh?
Was he in Spice World? I can imagine Deaton popping up in Spice World.
No, I reckon Richard E. Grant did.
Oh, he was.
That
Yeah, he
was
was the manager, wasn't he?
Oh, there we go. I didn't
He
even
was
know
in Alexi Sales Stuff, KYTV, One Foot in the Grave, Have I Got News for You, Mr. Bean, Doctor at the Top, Search of Happiness, Absolute Power. Load of other stuff really. Waterloo Road.
Waterloo Road. Jesus, he was in that.
Yeah. Benidorm.
Oh, I can believe that. Should we do Benidorm one day? How do you guys feel about that?
Is
Does
that
that count
sitcom?
as a Spanish sitcom?
Yeah, it's a Spanish sitcom. Yeah, go international. Why not? Let's get the. Oh, geez. So talking of abroad countries, segue.
Abroad countries.
Yeah, talking of abroad countries. I'll tell you what. I'm going to very, very neatly go into. So we host this podcast through SoundCloud, not sponsors, but mention it anyway. And we get the data through. So I don't know if I've ever told you guys where our top listeners are, but I'm going to run you guys through that now, see if it's of any interest to you.
Snowdon, would that be our top listeners?
Jesus, come on. Even I know that's geography. So we have...
But even Snowdon, it's only like the second highest one in Britain. It's not even that high. Which I think sums up
signal up Ben Nevis.
pretty much sums up this podcast, really.
So in all-time listeners, we have 284 in the United Kingdom. How do you guys feel about that? That's a number, isn't it?
Don't tell everyone what the numbers are. It's embarrassing.
Oh, well, it's good for some.
284, Christ.
Well,
That's
we
not even a bus, is it? Full capacity.
What sort of fucking buses have you been on?
What?
What sort of fucking buses have you been on? 284 passengers on a bus?
Look, you know what? I think around
Jesus Christ.
how many
No,
Second
must be
game.
around that.
how many people are on a bus?
Right,
200
right.
people on a
Well,
bus.
what's the numbers then? I've said 284.
Maybe on a
then.
mega bus, eh?
I think it's
Is
around.
it mega?
I was talking about the Venga bus.
It's coming and all the kids are running. No, wait, that's a different one.
People capacity. Right, okay.
I think it's around 260 something.
What, a double-decker bus?
Yeah, I remember
What,
seeing the sign.
seated
We're talking about standing room as well. We're not just talking about seats.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
right,
be a mug.
I thought we were talking about Hopper.
Hopper.
Oh, I've just typed in people capacity, not of bus. It's like 7 billion apparently.
It's like that time my mum, there was a water wasn't coming to our house, so I was like to Mum, if you just go on Google and like look for like Thames Water, and they can tell you if up to date, like if there's a leak in the area or whatever. And she got her iPad out, and as I walked past her and looked over her shoulder, she just typed the water into Google.
Oh, mum.
And there's just loads of Google images of water. I was like, well, that's a start, I suppose. Shout out to my mum.
Big up, Dot.
I don't know if she knows what a podcast is, to be honest. But
Probably not. I don't think mums do in general.
if she wants to find us, to type podcast into Google, and
Yeah. I've opened up a new tab after water today, to be fair. Or a new window. Depends what you want.
that's probably too much detail for us, to be honest.
Fair.
We've already confused her.
While was riveting himself doing that, so to speak.
What's going on?
He's
Does
looking for bus capacity.
I really hope it's a lot less than 200. I'd be really pleased.
No, I think it's around 260 something.
Yeah, but to be fair, we didn't specify. We're talking about single decker, double decker, hopper.
Double decker London bus.
I'm talking about Segway, London Segway. I was talking about Boris bike actually. No, I don't know. I might have overdone it really. Saturday, Route 55's capacity Single deck buses will be replaced by double deck buses that can carry 87 passengers.
Oh,
Alright, okay.
what a humiliating climb down.
Okay. Alright, fine. It's not even three it's not even three buses worth, is it?
I was so sure it was like 200.
You know what? You both look so downcast. I can't even gloat in
I
this.
really
victory.
do.
Yeah.
But having said that, 200 people on a bus, that probably would be mad, wouldn't it?
That's
Not
why.
to be
That's
hot.
why I
Mad
was
amount of
laughing.
people on it.
That's why I was laughing.
Oh.
Right. Train carriage.
Let's just forget this podcast.
Best
Name
of three. Motor transport.
How best can we represent our listenership?
Name a mode of transport, and we'll do the capacity.
A ferry. There you go.
Jesus. I wasn't serious. I don't be too disappointed.
Look, his little mind worrying. Look, thinking of
Thinking.
transport.
About a plane.
I'm going to go back
Zeppelin.
to the countries if you guys want to do that. Just
Yeah,
to mention
come on
some of
in.
the-
Yeah, sure.
Just a shout out to some of our listeners, really.
Let's do it in their native language.
I'm really not going to do that.
I'll give it a go.
Really?
No.
So we've got one person in, not Vietnam, Vietnam. I don't know why it's written that way, but Vietnam. Latvia.
That's not even a rickshaw.
It's not even a rickshaw, no. It's just one man getting ready to pick up
That's
other
just
people.
a driver listening to that so he don't fall asleep.
Well,
Sorry.
he's got the wrong idea if he doesn't want to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Latvia, Netherlands, Angola, 2 in Slovakia, Brazil, South Africa, Ireland, Republic of Korea, Germany, Portugal, Canada, Turkey, Czech Republic, Australia, the UAE, which is United Arab Emirates, New Zealand, United States, and finally, hometown, if you will, United Kingdom. Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Republic of Korea.
Republic of... How do you feel about that one, then?
I just think we've played a part in the peace talks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. we're helping them one sitcom at a time. Perhaps not the best one to go with next, then. One Foot in the Grave. Should we go back to that?
Sorry, before we move on, I hope everyone enjoyed that list of countries.
No, it's not. It's not just a list of countries. They're the
Well,
people
it
that
was.
it was, but yeah, the meaning behind it was they're the listeners we've got, and it was just a thank you to the ones that have enjoyed it this far.
Bit disappointed we don't have some of the big hitters. Russia. To crack that market.
That would be nice. Yeah, we'll try harder. What would be a good way to get them in?
Don't know.
It's not the spirit. Don't know. Give up instantly.
Yeah. It's never going to happen. I'm off. Bye.
Right, should we go in with One Foot in the Grave?
What? There's the tortoises. Why are they involved?
They're old, aren't they?
Yeah, it's an old animal. Then
Not
No.
all of them are.
no, not
Not
the young
initially.
ones.
Not the
Not
baby
these.
ones.
How do you know how old they were? They lived for like hundreds of years.
Didn't like recently, like I say recently, like a few years ago, tortoise that died, and it was Charles Darwin's or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Who was looking after it?
Don't know.
Probably why it died.
Yeah. Just milling about the house.
Yeah, can Charles. So today we're going to be watching Series 2, Episode 4, entitled Who Will Buy? Of One Foot in the Grave. Here we go.
They say I might as well face the truth, but I am just too long in the tooth. So I'm an OAB and weak mean, but I'm not yet quite gone to sea. I may be over the hill now that I have retired, fading away, but I'm not yet expired. Clapped out, run down, too old to save, 1 foot in the grave.
So we've just watched Series 2, Episode 4 of One Foot in the Grave, entitled Who Will Buy? The premise for this episode, it's quite hard for me to talk about because there's lots of little different things going on,
Yeah.
such as
Go
and there was a salesman at the door selling bendy dinosaurs.
Yeah, it wasn't really.
But I don't know if the episode was actually. I don't know. I suppose it was about that. Well, it started off, wasn't it, like a salesman asking him to buy something, which linked at the end. But then the rest of it was just all sorts, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah, I think it had lots of like. What I really liked about this is it had so many different things going on in the episode, and I don't think any of them didn't tie up together at the end. There was
Yeah.
the one you mentioned about who will buy the dinosaurs. That came out of nowhere at the end. I thought that was going to be forgotten, but
Yeah.
let's do this from the start. Sorry, because I feel like I always sort of jump ahead with it. So the main premise of this one was I don't even know. You would, yeah.
There isn't one.
Well,
No,
what
there
was the
isn't.
driving thing? The driving thing overriding it was
The
that,
ventriloquist thing, wasn't it?
the ventriloquist thing, like where there was like they're watching TV at the start and there's like a ventriloquist dummy on the sofa,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out that he used to be a ventriloquist or something, or he used to do it. And
Yeah,
he
and he's
does
thinking of
at a
doing it
talent
again.
show.
Yeah, and he gets invited by his neighbour to do it in a talent show,
Yeah,
and then for some reason his new next door neighbour, which is played by Mrs. Deaton, discovers that or thinks that he's like some sort of murderer.
yeah. I mean, to be fair to him, apparently he does apparently smash it out. The performance, everyone's loving it.
Oh
So
yeah,
it actually
is
fucking
quite
pissing
good.
themselves.
Yeah. So I was expecting something to go wrong with that, but actually,
Yeah, it went
he's,
really well for him.
Bang up ventriloquist.
Yeah, it's nice.
That goes without saying, because he's a
It's a dummy.
ventriloquist.
Yeah, I like that. Clever.
What?
Goes without saying because the dummy says it instead.
It doesn't really say.
Oh,
That's the man
Oh.
throwing his voice.
What?
So there's a few key things at the start that came together at the end for the jokes. You had
Setups. Here we go.
Setups, if you will. So it starts off and they're watching a murder program, and Poirot, thank you very much, which soon turns out to be they're actually watching the darts. They get very confused. This actually set up for what I think for me would be joke of the week, in which the Margaret believes that the murderer was Basil because the body of the victim was found gripping Basil. She says, I think that's the killer.
Like a
It's
basil leaf. like
Basil,
that.
Basil Leaf, thank you. Yeah,
Hmm.
Basil Leaf. She said, I think that Basil was the killer. Her uncle Basil, the victim's uncle Basil, and Victor said, luckily it wasn't his uncle Dick, which for me I thought that was a nice little joke. Not convinced. Okay.
A bit too blue for Chris.
It's a bit too close to the mark.
Yeah, put it away.
I thought it was a good little joke.
Yeah, I thought it's good. Yeah.
Victor soon mentions that he's got these like spots appearing on his nose, which again that sets up for something later on.
Spots from eating Smarties.
Which is also another setup, because he's got an empty tube of Smarties. He's just downed all the Smarties, and now he's got an empty tube of Smarties,
Yeah.
which will come into play later on.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So that's a very quick setup for something actually. So that very soon she spies a bug or beetle on the floor.
It's some kind of beetle, yeah.
We shall. Do we classify it?
Which one?
886.
McCartney. Hey?
I'm standing in the corner again.
Brilliant, that's
He
good.
might have said, yeah.
I don't know, he's from Birmingham.
Oh, that wasn't a bad one. That's that's more. Was that more Ringo?
We can work it out. That was rubbish as well.
Yeah. that was more Brummy than I did.
Well, yeah.
Surely.
That's,
Oh.
that's what I was
Oh, I
doing.
thought you were quoting a virtual.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I see. I've been done.
This week on whose accent is it anyway?
Every time. So what other things do we have? We had the ventriloquist dummy that we touched on very briefly.
And the stuffing keeps bursting out of his back. Bursting out of his back.
Yes, specifically bursting out of his back. Margaret is a florist at this point in the series. She brings some flowers around to a blind man. Patrick and Pippa, Deaton and Mrs. Deaton, they turn up, and Victor invites them to the house. We're just covering very briefly everything that we can see in this, basically, not necessarily going through in detail.
Series 1?
This is series 2, episode 4. So
Okay.
this is when Deaton appears for the first time. Chose that one specifically.
Right, okay.
There's a scene where Victor is on the phone talking to the video repairman that was mentioned earlier in the episode about how the video repairman just simply hasn't turned up for like the third time now.
Yeah.
At what point in history did we stop needing video repairmen, do you think? I didn't know that was a thing that people actually came round to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah, it might, maybe not specifically video, but it might be just like an electronics, like
General.
TV repair shop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you so surprised that you had a TV repairman?
Imagine.
I just don't remember one existing. I mean,
Well, because you never had to deal with it, did you? You were a child in the,
I know,
in
but
the
I-
VHS era.
yeah, but I would have watched the TV, and I just don't ever remember like a video repairman coming round to repair.
That's
TV.
because they always
Efficient.
spared you that that trauma. Made sure you was out.
Mark, go to your room. Why? just do it.
I don't want you to see this.
I don't want to see it like this.
It's very of its time in that, you know, it one of the gags, as you mentioned, one of the jokes
Never
earlier.
gags.
It's not a gag, is it? One of the little jokes you said earlier was the Poirot recording on the VHS
Mm-hmm.
cut into the darts, and they were confused about why it was like a man swigging the lager.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that was a very 90s trauma, isn't it? the either the TV schedule shifting that put your recording out, or like the the VHS time, the clock was set wrong, so it would record at the wrong time. It's an absolute minefield for those who weren't around in those days. It was though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hey?
Setting VHS.
Put a bit of tape over the little tab at the back. Yeah.
Those were those.
Why was that for?
We took the tab off and you could record.
Why would I do that?
Why would I do that?
With the VHS.
Why would
Did
you
you
do
think I'm a mug?
It was the same for
Tape over the back.
it was the same for cassettes and VHS though. When you could take the little tab off and it would protect it from being recorded over.
Oh.
And if you wanted to record over it, you put a little bit of tape over it.
I've never done that. I never made anyone a mixtape or anything.
Yeah, I never really made anything that was
Selfish
so integral to my life that I needed to protect it.
It was like recording stuff.
I don't know, I didn't really. I did record videos and stuff. But
Yeah, Red Shoe Diaries. Okay.
What?
The company at its finest.
Remember the Red Shoe Diaries, Channel 5?
No.
Oh, here we go. Look, what a poker
Red
face.
Shoe Diaries. Channel 5?
Yeah.
Didn't that stopped broadcasting at 9 p.m, didn't it?
Too busy
That's
watching.
what you thought,
Too busy
eh?
watching Confessions of a Milkman. That's
That's
why.
when it got started. Know what I'm saying?
My parents told me TV didn't go past 9 p.m. It's just that girl on the chalkboard.
Listen. Listen, Chris.
Also a dummy in that.
You've done well at your A levels, but you can't watch TV any later than this. Oh yeah, so I thought that it really placed the sitcom well within the dawn of the 90s,
Yeah.
the VHS era.
Yeah, and also within that exact same bit, she mentioned Jockey Wilson, a darts player, I imagine, or him. Feels like a very 90s thing to say.
It's just also the era when things were like you would repair things, wouldn't you? Like nowadays with like disposable electronics and things like that, like things aren't built to last. Like you don't have something to repair it, you have it to replace it, don't you?
Yeah, you'd sell it on
It's a
eBay for
very-
parts at best.
Yeah, and it's just where our society's going.
I'll just smash it up in the
What
garden
good
with a hammer.
That pile of electronics just getting bigger and bigger in your garden.
Yes.
Yeah, set them on fire one day. I thought this was a really like typically polite British sitcom. Do you know what I mean? Really like
Just like a comedy of like manners and stuff, and
yeah,
miscommunication and trying to be polite.
yeah. They didn't need to resort to like any rude humour as such, other than the dick joke earlier that I've got down as joke of the week. So yeah, bit of a hypocrite there. Anyway, I just think it's like a really polite, gentle comedy. Really.
Well, it's like family, innit? Anyone can watch it.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't past 9 p.m.
As long as it wasn't past 9 p.m.
Yeah.
9:01, sorry. No one finna go for you. Too many dick jokes.
One is too many. Never joke about dicks. So we were talking off air about comparing this to other sitcoms that we've watched, and I think the closest one that we could do, because of like the people that are in it, was perhaps our least favourite one yet.
I Dream of Jeannie.
Why? Why dream?
Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, sorry. As you were saying, Desmond's.
I want to go back and do Desmond's again. I'm gutted that we lost that. It wasn't.
Of course you do.
Silly great one.
Overcompensating. We know about your views.
It was good memories for me. Was Waiting for God is the one that I was talking about. Yeah, how do you guys feel like this fared up against Waiting for God?
It's more entertaining.
Yes. Full stop.
All
points covered.
I would speak for the rest of us. I think we were a lot less angry and confused.
Yeah, definitely. I was like properly laughing at this one as well.
Yeah, I was cracking up.
I was laughing at a level of when we were watching Men Behaving Badly. I think there was a lot of good, solid, well-rounded jokes in that. But yeah, I just feel like that sort of level of comedy and the writing for it as well was brilliant. Really, really enjoyed this.
It's
It is
very
good,
intricate. Yeah, it's like a piece of clockwork.
Everything came together, like even the things that made no sense to me whatsoever. So there was one part where a guy appeared at the door selling bendy dinosaurs, and that felt really hurried for me at the time, and I didn't understand the reference to it. I thought it was just thrown in as filler, but
It's the bendy dinosaur craze of the 90s.
Oh yeah.
I missed
Do you remember
that as the kid. No,
Really?
no.
Big
Apparently
Children
yo-yo.
were like, it was what a sheltered child. Never saw TV being repaired. Never saw a little,
Yeah,
little
no shot,
dinosaur
bendy
repaired.
dinosaur. Yeah.
I thought that had quite a
Haven't
good.
lived.
I think that has quite a good little joke when the little fella came round. But quite an ostentatious bow tie on.
I thought that was going to be something to do with the dummy, because he looked like he was dressed like a ventriloquist dummy. I thought first of all,
Yeah.
but no, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, it was. He came round and obviously trying to get his foot in the door, so to speak. He was like sort of making sort of gabbled small talk about the weather and stuff. And then Victor Meldrew quite sort of testily said, "What are you, a door-to-door meteorologist?" So it's quite a funny joke.
That's right.
That's a bit. Fucking hell. There's laughs on the laughter track. That proves me right.
Okay, yeah, that's known for being the source of comedy. Yeah, fair.
That was a funny retort. Bloody hell.
I mean, it's a great retort. Yeah, great retort for
don't
meteorologists. I was looking at my watch there. That's always a good sign. What?
Again, didn't it say that? We wouldn't know.
You can cut this. You can cut this. That's fine, if you don't mind.
No, we need to pad it out.
I look at my watch again.
Dramatic pause.
Does anyone want to cover any favourite jokes for you guys in this one? I mean, was meteorologist for you, perhaps?
No, I was just trying to think
just remembering stuff that happened.
Remembering funny jokes that happened. Bloody hell. No, I think it was the reveals were good. Like the overarching setups and payoffs. Jesus, it always happens.
Yawning away.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Wasn't it you? It was just generally.
Oh yeah. Chris's trademark straight in the first episode of the second series, him yawning during one of my bits of critique. Fucking hell.
Sorry. Right.
Let's see if Mark looks at his watch doing this as well.
Classic.
Right, so the setup is there we did it, yeah. The setup is them watching the Poirot murder victim, has a bit of basil in his hand. Okay. What's her name? Annette Crosbie. What's Victor Meldrew's wife called? Margaret. Margaret befriends a blind man. Yeah.
Blind man.
Taking some. She knocks at the wrong house with some flowers. He's blind. She takes pity on him. He's expecting some flowers from his children. Have just emigrated to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She goes in. It's dark. Light on. He's like, "Oh, can you read me this letter? I'm blind. My kids and grandkids have gone to Australia." So then she opens it up, and it's some kind of just like brochure for something.
Oh, it's like a museum or something. It had like a little statue in it.
At first, I thought his son might have been a pharaoh or something.
Yeah,
he wasn't. So then she sort of feels bad for him because he's obviously in the dark on his own, expecting something from his kids. She makes something up. So then she goes back to a few days later to visit him, and in keeping with the tone of this, from my memory of One Foot in the Grave from years ago, it was like always quite a jarring mix of like, sort of farcical comedy and like quite dark elements.
Yeah, which is something I want to touch on briefly.
That was quite bleak.
Yeah, so that was it. The whole situation was bleak as it was that he was just sitting there, on his own in the dark, and then which escalates and she arrives and his door's sort of ajar, and it turns out he's been murdered. Sad. So then it turns out that no
laughter track on that bit.
No, yeah.
No, apart from you, we were laughing uproariously when you
after he yawned.
Punch in the air when you found out the old man,
people, yes,
the blind man, being bludgeoned to death. He didn't see that coming. Because he's got visually impaired.
He was also in the dark at the time, so
that's irrelevant. Yeah. And he was found with a domino in his hand. Okay, which the police obviously mentioned.
Not just any
for
domino.
some reason. Let me tell you which domino it was. It was the double one, 2 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mrs. Deaton's in the sort of.
I was going to say beau. Deaton's beau.
She is his beau, his lover, his spouse.
She's in Waiting for God as well.
Oh, was that her? I think it might have been.
She was as well. You know.
She was the cleaner, wasn't she? Or the
no, she was the secretary.
She was
the secretary.
No, she was the kind-hearted, simple lady who she was made to cry by the nasty lady.
Yeah.
Is that the first Shitcom connection we've had? And everything we've seen so far.
So far, yeah, I think so.
Wow. Yeah. Get that one recorded. There we go. Sorry, carry on.
So Mrs. Deaton is in the vicinity when the news comes through to the talent show. Why did the police phone them to tell them that?
I suppose if they couldn't have got hold of the relatives in Australia. I don't know.
I think.
Because he's. Right.
They go and visit them, didn't they? Because they wasn't this talent show for some sort of charity thing.
Anyway, so she's in the vicinity and she's like, the guy who took the news just looked sad, and he was like, he told her what had happened, and she was like, "Oh, what domino was it? Did they mention it?" And he says, "Yes, obviously they did tell me which domino was in the murder victim's hand." It's evidence. You shouldn't be telling people about that.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
it was a double one, the double spot. And as he says the double spot, her field of vision turns around. Meldrew's coming out of the door. Camera zooms in, 2 spots on his nose.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then she's obviously shocked. And then she looks at him again, and he's sort of throttling the ventriloquist dummy, trying to get his head off.
Mm.
Yep.
So that was a very long-winded way of me saying that I think that was a pretty good laugh.
Yeah.
That reveal.
Beautifully written.
So one thing I noticed through the whole thing, did at any point he express that he couldn't believe something?
Bloody hell, no.
Mm.
I'll tell you what.
Mm.
I don't believe it.
No,
He didn't say that
believe it.
once.
Yeah.
I was even I forgot entirely, but I was going to make that a little game beforehand. What do you think he can't believe?
Mm.
I'm glad I didn't do it.
I don't
now.
think I don't know how many times he actually said it over the run of the show.
I feel,
Oh
Does it say?
no.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, was it? What has someone gone through every episode and done an I don't believe it count?
possibly.
I mean, you can get like a YouTube like mashup of him saying
A
it.
supercut of him going.
Yeah, supercut of it.
I'll buy one of them clickers for next time.
Yeah, but I don't think we
The
haven't
next
got
time.
the data.
For one, the other series that has like a catchphrase.
Is this the first series we've watched that has like a
Catchphrase.
catchphrase that's something like synonymous with it? Like you think, okay,
Ooh,
someone
good
says to you
question.
1 foot in the grave, you're like, I don't believe it.
I'm off the top of my head, I'm going to say yes. Oh no, Home Improvement. If you can count as a catchphrase,
Yeah.
or as a catchphrase.
Okay. All right. British sitcom.
British. Fair. Going back to the rules of this series.
Yeah. Come on.
What have we done again? Men Driving Badly. No, they say funny things, don't they?
No catchphrase. British Empire, no catchphrase. Gimme, no catchphrase. Wait for God, probably not. 2.4 Children. No. Yeah, no. You've correctly identified.
The catchphrase, isn't it? It's a weird little thing, isn't it?
How do you feel about catchphrases in general with sitcoms?
Generally, just say what I see.
Jesus.
Lovely stuff.
Comedy gold right here.
Well, it's those things, isn't it? It's one of those things that gets overused so much sometimes that you're just sick of it.
Yeah.
Like in when they did like the extras, like and he had his catchphrase. And it just showed him.
You having a laugh?
Yeah,
was just,
and he looks at the audience and everyone's wearing like just all these catchphrases that are just so overused and stuff like that. So it's one of those things. It's all right, I suppose, but I don't know really.
Can't be overused, I guess.
Yeah.
What is for you like a well not well known catchphrase, like a favourite catchphrase or like a most annoying catchphrase? Just anything that comes to mind. Let's pad this conversation out.
Basically anything out of Little Britain is the worst, isn't it?
Yeah,
Really.
that's comes to mind. Yeah, I'm aware it's like not a sitcom.
It's essentially, that's just essentially a compilation of
It's like sketch shows, isn't it? It's
catchphrases,
just
isn't
like,
it?
yeah, they all come in and they do something and then say a sentence and everyone gets for
I don't like it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Which is the same person as well.
Yeah, he's got two.
That's
He's doubling up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, am I bothered? No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not bothered.
that's
No,
not Little Britain.
Catherine Tate, isn't it?
Is that Tate?
Yeah, that's Tate.
Yeah.
Isn't...
Yeah. That's
Oh, shit. I was getting... Who's the one that Matt Lucas was? The one... What's her name? With the tracksuit on. I thought she said, am I bothered?
Oh,
She might have done. I don't know.
Vicky Pollard.
What did she say then? She said some kind of catchphrase.
I'm so confused right now. I think it might have
Oh,
been.
yeah, but no, but, innit?
Oh, yeah, but no.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no.
Fucking hell. It shows the...
Computer says
Anyway,
no.
so she does say no, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, let's go back to this.
Garlic bread.
Yeah, that's one.
Just talk about what you want for dinner.
Yeah. Garlic bread.
Shepherd's pie.
So I don't know if we lost because we lost part of this in the
Rodney, you
recording.
plonker.
Lovely jubbly.
What accent was that? Oh, lovely jubbly.
Lovely jubbly. Isn't that just how he says it? That's what they say in
Lovely jubbly.
Beckham, isn't it?
What's occurring, Mark?
What's that one?
That's one, isn't it? That
Is
well
that
said.
Zippy? No, that's not, is it? No, it's not.
Why would that be Zippy?
He does say it.
What's occurring?
He does say it.
That's a good one.
Zippy, innit? That was a good impression, Zippy.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I'll try it. Thanks.
I'm sure Zippy is what's occurring.
I think I could do both Bungle and George, but I can't remember
Go
how
on.
they go.
He's sort of like, whoa.
It's sort of like
It's that. What George? It's like,
yeah.
go, bungle, go.
I can't place it.
Bungle's like how you said hello at the start of this episode.
Yeah.
I said about 6 hellos, but yeah, it could be any one of them.
Alright, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember if we lost this bit in the recording, but I said about how
Don't mention that.
you can edit this out. Or keep it in.
That explains it. What?
So I mentioned before how this was quite a polite, gentle comedy, but then one of you touched on this being quite dark in places. So yeah, I think I'm changing my mind now with that, because you do have some really really sort of, I don't use the word dark again, but moments where they're not afraid to bring in things like murder or essentially death, and they'll just talk about it, and making it a bit like.
But then, the whole kind of overarching premise of it is that death does linger above the whole premise of the show, because they're both retired. He's got, essentially, if I were to put it, sum it up with a phrase, I'd say he's got one foot in the grave.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
He said, the only reason he bought that ventriloquist dummy, as he said in the show, was just to while away the daylight hours. I don't want to invoke. What's the word? Invoke, innit?
Yeah.
Invoke. A shittier sitcom than this, but they're both waiting for God. Okay.
Yes.
So the darkness is there.
The darkness is there.
But yeah, I always looking back. I obviously watched a bit of it when I was a kid, and I did pick up on a lot of lot of darkness and sort of not melodrama, but
Yeah. Okay. The feels.
The feels. All of them.
But yeah, it was always a bit, and especially no spoilers, but the way that it ended. Like,
The overall series, you mean?
Yeah, you couldn't have got more dark than that, really.
No.
I only remember 2 bits from One Foot in the Grave. It's picking up a dog as a phone.
Classic.
And its head under a flower pot.
Classic again.
That's it.
I
Got no other memories.
don't really remember that flower pot one.
Dean was involved in that one, wasn't he?
Yeah, dude, he picks it up and his head's under it. And he's just
He
like,
was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Could we do an edit of that? Of the
Yeah,
video?
definitely,
Off camera, it's clearly not his voice as well.
yeah.
All the sound.
Obviously, it's the voice of a bassy black man's voice.
None of us going to do that. No. No.
You don't know any black people, obviously, Mark. So you can't ask anyone.
Straight back in with that. I lost my glasses.
Your hood fell off.
oh dear.
Do you guys remember the comic relief special they did when they brought it back after the very final episode?
No.
So again, it was another really dark one. And I don't know why I remember this, because obviously we were all quite young back then. But I think it was Margaret and Victor sitting in a hospital. Yawning away.
Sorry.
Sorry. The two of them sort of.
So you want a silent scream of anguish?
Rain is.
Why am I doing this?
Rain's
Margaret.
made me sleepy. Someone find rain nice and calming.
It's quite nice in there, isn't it?
Little patter, little. Reminds me of my little Rain CD I listened to.
Well, at least you don't have to drive home for an hour. That'd be fine.
It's 30 minutes. So.
Central reservation. Slumped over the wheel. Fast
What?
asleep. You got to drive home in the rain.
Oh yeah.
I thought they'd get too drowsy.
No, I'll try not to. I'll have the window open.
Take that rain CD out for a start.
Yeah.
Margaret, go on.
Thank you. So it's the two of them sitting in hospital, and it's only like a 5-minute sketch probably, but Victor's sitting there and he does all the talking for the entire episode, and he's obviously just complaining about stuff. What are you laughing at?
Laughing at your notes. Such a fucking nerd. What a
I'm
swat.
trying to keep a structure.
Teacher, look at my notes.
I've written a whole page.
Patrick and Pippa.
Yeah.
Dash. Who are they?
Yeah, because they don't know who they are in the series. They're like, who are they? That's what
I
he
thought you were
says.
just confused.
No, it's beating a missus.
Blind man with Margaret.
Yep. It's that
Pippa.
happened.
Oh, one of Mark's fantasies there, look. Pippa watching.
Spelling.
What?
Video.
That's an E. That is an E. So I do my E's.
What do you think it
Badly.
said?
Yeah, video is VI.
VIDEO.
Where's the I?
D-E-O.
It
D-E-O.
just says VDEO.
VD. Who's got VD? No, it's The eyes and I there really.
Well, I'd give you a spelling point for that, to be honest, when I was marking your book.
Well, you got red pen? No, exactly. Carry on.
It's a green pen.
It's a green pen you use.
Yeah, red's too aggressive. Kids can't handle it.
Why did you write all those words down? There's only white people in the show. Why did you write all those slurs?
For fuck's sake, no. Just no. I'm not having that. So they're sitting in hospital, and then like Victor's doing all the talking, like complaining about stuff as usual. And then right at the end of the episode, the sketch, she says like, "Oh, hang on, who are we here to visit again?" And he looks at the hospital bed, and they don't reveal it, but it's essentially like it's the moment where he's in hospital and he's been after the hit and run. So it's like a callback to.
And the camera pans out and he's got a huge erection on the sheet. He died doing what he loved.
Being run over.
Being fully erect. What?
That was the moment he loved. Not anything else. Just that moment. Achieving a full erection.
I don't believe it.
No, just like, I don't believe that.
Come.
Oh, God.
Is Meldrew a real name, or is it like a comical name that's supposed to sound like Mildew?
I imagine it's a real
It's got to be
name,
someone's surname, surely. I mean, just feels like an odd word to make up.
I think I just assumed it was like a comical sounding sort of miserable name because it sounds like mildew.
Yeah, I reckon it's that as well.
Well, yeah, probably didn't call him anything too like jazzy, but
Yeah, Victor, happy man.
D'Angelo.
He's the least looking Spanish man ever, isn't he? Even with the I don't believe it in a Spanish accent.
I'm trying to remember what it is in Spanish, but I don't know.
No? Okay.
you know, you get like
I don't think so is.
Google.
Do it, go on.
Creo que no. Creo que no.
Brilliant.
Oh, Google Complete is
Meldrew's a
Good,
turd. What? Why is that? Well, that's
It was
weird.
Deaton.
Should we go into the game? Or do you want to do your
shit.
joke of the week?
What was the joke of the?
Meldrew is a surname.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What does it mean? What's the origin of that?
Surname Meldrew, first founded Aberdeenshire,
Oh yeah.
historic county.
Look, they're both
region of
Scottish
Scotland.
accents, aren't
They held a family seat.
Polite.
Yeah, it's Scottish, isn't it?
Because they're both Scottish actors, aren't they? Annette Crosbie Scottish.
So I don't know.
Fucking.
I mean, they've got perfectly rounded British accents.
No, they don't. They have like Scottish lilts, don't they? They're both with Scottish accents.
Don't really mean it. Doesn't seem to mean anything. The motto was originally a war cry or slogan.
I don't.
Motto is mens immota manet. The mind remains steadfast. So that could be a little thing about 1 foot in the grave, and the fact that even though he's got 1 foot in the grave, he's still got his mind, and he's still a bit with it.
He does, yeah. Yeah.
Joke of the week?
I'll go for the woman putting the dummy to.
Oh shit!
Have
We
a
didn't even
wee.
say anything about that, did we?
Oh, yeah, okay. Do you want to go into that?
Well, she already thinks he's a little bit loopy
mental.
anyway, because she walks in to give him a lift and sort of walks him in on him. It's again, it's as the best ones are in this episode. Like, it's a farcical setup where he's phoned the video repair shop to berate the receptionist. It's in one hand. He's got his right hand with the phone. So as Mrs. Deaton walks in, the phone is obscured. So for all she knows, he is berating the ventriloquist dummy, which is in his left hand. So he's like proper going for it and having a go. So she thinks that he thinks it's a real entity, the ventriloquist dummy. So later on, when she returns him home, added to this, she also thinks he's a murderer because of the two spots, as we just spoke about. So then he says to her, "Oh, the dummy, she's got it in her hand. Oh, that belongs in the. I can go into the downstairs toilet. He's bursting because, as we mentioned earlier, the stuff is bursting out of his back. So she thinks he's a deranged murderer. So Crosbie comes down. Margaret comes down. She said, "Oh,
not Bill. Cosby's would make any sense.
Yeah, that would be dark for the show."
Yeah.
She's like,
Not then.
she walks down and is like, "Oh, I had a terrible day." She found the murdered victim, and Mrs. Deaton is holding up the ventriloquist dummy in front of the toilet, as if he's doing a little wee into it. She gives him a little shake at the end.
Yeah, because Victor says to her, like, he lives in the toilet.
Yeah.
That's why she put him in there.
Yes, yeah. But but then he added she's bursting, so she thought
Oh yeah.
he's going for a quick slash. That was a good joke, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, brilliantly set up. Lots of points for it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of little things that had to fall into place for that to work, and it worked very well.
The final payoff. So as we spoke right at the beginning, the little salesman, which he thought was the most important part of the episode, the salesman was selling bendy dinosaurs. All right, Meldrew's not having it. Tells him to get lost. Hop it. All right.
Also gives the price of the dinosaurs, doesn't it? It's £25 each for small ones,
Yeah.
and they also do a larger size, £50 each. Which even in the 90s, that's a lot for a dinosaur, isn't it?
Back in the 90s as well, that would have been a lot of money.
Yeah. That's extortionate, really.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So right at the end, when they're discussing the old man who got murdered, the blind man, his finances and his will and stuff, they said he had nothing left in his.
He had just over £100 in his post office or something, but he spent it.
Yeah,
That's 2 big dinosaurs.
Yeah.
there you go. And they were like, whatever could he have spent all his money on? And then there's like a really sort of long sort of dolly shot, like zooming in. It lived in like a basement. And it zoomed all the way in, and we all did like crane in.
We all led
We
in
were
as
proper
well.
craning in to see what it was.
Tiny screen.
And it was 2 big boxes, and on top of it was like a dispatch label that said "Bendy Dinosaurs."
Yeah, we all kind of just went, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. It wasn't after those two, the 2 spots and the ventriloquist dummy payoffs. That was a bit of a anticlimax, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame seeing that after like all of the brilliant jokes that had come before it. But I guess at what point do you end it otherwise? And I guess if they hadn't have done the Benny Dinosaur Man, then they wouldn't have had that. At
We
the
wouldn't
end.
have got the comic gold of lonely blind man spends the money he was going to spend on his locks to try and reconnect with his family that's emigrated thousands of miles away,
Yeah.
and due to that, not changing locks and getting brutally murdered
Yeah.
Blood
during a game of dominoes.
Yeah.
How's he playing dominoes? If you can't, I suppose you can feel
They
it,
mentioned
yeah.
it specifically. He had a special set
Okay.
that was like had raised like braille dominoes, I guess.
I still don't
Okay.
know how he knew the letter that arrived. Why he assumed it was from his son?
I
Because
don't think he gets a lot of posters of a lonely blind man. I don't get a lot of posters. It is.
I think
he's
that was
blind.
part of the bleakness of it. It was that he
yeah.
was kind of just expectant that this letter was, because they haven't written for ages.
Yeah,
so he
fair.
thought a letter
Okay.
comes in and it's going to be them.
yeah, all right. Well, I again feel silly now. That's fine.
Yeah.
What do you think of the music, the theme music? Like it? It's
I
alright.
love this theme tune for it. Yeah, I think it's one of the most fitting theme tunes of all the series we watched.
I was
yeah.
surprised that the tortoise didn't make an appearance in it. Like I thought he was one of the main characters. Like Meldrew's not even in the intro or the outro sequence.
No.
It's just that tortoise roaming around, and I thought, well,
That
maybe
was, that was stock footage. They were meant to replace that, but they just.
yeah, we'll put something more relevant in later on.
Ignore the tortoise. Just listen to the tune.
Eric Idle specifically said that he wouldn't approve the song going into the show unless the tortoise footage was put in with it. He's very specific about that. Okay.
Would joke of the week at all, or?
I said the dummy having the.
Yeah.
Oh,
fuck it.
sorry.
Listen.
I'm sorry. I thought you said that one. My mistake.
Can we rewind this?
Rewind. My mistake. I'm sorry. In that case, should we go straight through to the game
What
of
was
the
it
week?
again?
Game of the week. So obviously we watched One Foot in the Grave. This week the game is Juan Foot in the Grave, which is Mexican-based sitcoms.
Okay.
So James, do you
We're
want
gonna
to go
go through
first?
Chris's 10 minutes of contemplation, meditation.
Wait.
Do you want to do your one first, or?
Yeah, sure. First one's easy. Just the Cura of Dibley.
The what?
The Cura of Dibley.
Cura.
Yeah, it's just like a Spanish word for a priest. Just straight away.
I'm sitting there going like, what?
The other one's set in a obviously it's in Mexico, so it's like a nice warm climate. New leisure centre has opened up, and it's the Aztec Empire.
Brilliant callback to
Yeah.
British Empire as well. What game that was. Brilliant. All right. My one's fairly simple. It's two relatives that own a sort of second-hand mariachi company. Steptoe and Sombrero. Yeah, that's my one.
It's good.
Thanks. James, will just let you sort of.
Right, I've got a couple. So
yeah, go on, go for it.
I've got drop the dead burrito. Okay, because
It can still be donkey.
Drop dead burrow, isn't that donkey?
exactly. So burrito is a small.
Oh,
donkey.
alright. First
Oh,
okay.
burrito.
I didn't know that.
I
Okay.
thought it was a
Tell you what,
Hang on.
our Spanish listenership's going to go right up.
Oh yeah, I'm sort of
Yeah.
going popping. I'm really pushing for that market. And my second one is hola hola.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. So you're welcome.
Worth the wait.
You're welcome, Spanish listenership. De nada. So
No problem. No problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
okay. All right. See, think on my feet. Okay.
snappy sitcoms.
Is that it? We've done. Do you want to tell it?
That's
Do you
like
wanna-
we're done.
do you want to tell them what we're listening to, watching next week, so they can watch along,
That's
rather than listen to us talking about something that they haven't seen?
a really good idea. I don't know what we've not
Jesus
done it before.
Christ! We've had months to prepare for this.
All right, just didn't think of that idea. Maybe like text me your thoughts.
I think we
next
should have
time.
like a hostile takeover of this podcast, Chris. I think Mark's incompetent. I think we should have a vote of no confidence.
It's a three-way vote. All three of us.
Secret ballot.
How was this 100%? Oh yeah, I voted for myself.
Oh yeah, the way you were speaking about the way you did your notes, where like you had no recollection of doing it at all. That doesn't sound out of the question. Oh, I voted against myself. I can't remember doing that, but that sounds like something I would do.
Yeah, it does.
What are we watching next,
dear.
Mark?
So next week we will be watching. Let me get the exact episode for you guys. We're watching 90s. No, not 90s. Noughties, I think. My Hero.
I think it started in like, isn't it?
I think it was Noughties. I'm not sure. Originally aired in 2002. That one, but
Oh,
you
fair enough.
find out more next week about that one. So we'll be watching Series 3, Episode 3 of My Hero. Yeah, so tune in for that. Ardlo Hanlon. I can never say that. Yeah, we'll be watching that, where he plays a superhero, George Sunday.
What's his name?
Thermo Man. It's a terrible name for a superhero, isn't it? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's George Sunday. He plays Thermo Man in that one. Yeah, that'll be what we watch next week. So Series 3, Episode 3. Tune in for that.
Cheers, everyone.
But before that,
What?
say goodbye.
Oh yeah.
So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. Just search The Great British Shitcom. Send us a tweet on Twitter @British Shitcom. Also on Instagram with British Shitcom. Tell us some of your favourite sitcoms of the past using the hashtag Shitcom. Share the podcast with family and friends. I've been Mark. This is Chris and Chris.
Bye.
Bye.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
They say I might as well face the truth, that I'm just too long in the tooth. I started to deteriorate, and now I've passed my own sell-by date. So I'm a wrinkly, crinkly, set in my ways. It's true that my body has seen better days, but give me half a chance and I can still misbehave. 1 foot in the grave. 1 foot in the grave. 1 foot in the grave.